afternoon, ladies and gents. Just coming on quickly again to share this little project with you. And this is using the Up and Away DSP that you can get in Celebration right now until the 31st of March. It does come in 12 by 12 sheets. They are double-sided. I've just cut mine down to 6 by 6 because I work with 6 by 6 more than I would 12 by 12. So just a little sneak peek. So you can't buy this DSP, you can only earn it in Celebration for free. So that's the DSP that I'm using. I've also used, do you remember when Celebration first started and we said that there was stuff in the Celebration catalogue that you could use with some of the new stuff, new products out of the Spring Summer Occasions catalogue? Well, this is just going to prove it. I've used the Lift Me Up stamp set. Okay. And there's 16 stamps in there, and if you buy them together with the Up and Away framelits, I'll just open that for you. Now they don't come in this box, they actually come in a plastic envelope. I use our boxes just so that I don't bend them or anything. So, and I will switch this out for a magnetic sheet. Long day, ladies, long day. Yeah, so this is the Up and Away framelits, and as I say, if you buy them as a bundle you can save 10%, and they do coincide with the free DSP. Right, so what I've done is I'm making a box frame or a shadow box, whatever you want to call it. And I started mine off on an 8 by 8 piece of very vanilla cardstock. Okay, so I'm just going to show you on this one. See the way it's cut? Right, what you're going to do is I've scored mine at every ½ inch. So I've scored it a ½ inch, 1 inch, 1.5 and 2. And then I've put another score line in just there at the 2.5 inch mark. But you're only going to take it down to the second score line. And you're only going to do that on 2 opposite sides of the paper. Okay. Now you can do this with any size paper you like, so long as you get the scoring right. So it's ½ inch, 1 inch, 1.5 and 2 inches on the end pieces. Then you turn it and you go ½ inch, 1 inch, 1.5 inch, 2 inch and 2.5. Just up to that second score line. Okay, and then what you're going to do is when it comes to cutting out, you're going to remove all that. Okay, and that's what gives you that funny little shape. Now you only do that on the 2 sides that you've put that extra little score line in. These bottom ones are going to stay straight. Okay. So depending on what size cardstock, like that will turn out to be an oblong shadow box, because I've used a full piece of A4 cardstock. so that will become an oblong shape. Now this one, because I used 8 by 8, I've done exactly the same, 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 1.5 inch, 2 inch, and then I put the partial score lines in at 2.5 inches. Okay, so when you come to cut out, you're going to cut up, then you're going to go diagonal on the 3rd one, and then straight up on the 4th one. So you come up on that 2.5 inch mark straight, you go diagonal on the 3rd one and straight up the 4th one, and then you remove that piece fully. So you come up, you go diagonal, and then you go straight, and then you just cut that off completely. Okay, so you're left with that. Okay, now because I know my cardstock was 8 by 8 and we've tucked it in by 2.5 inches on either side, I know that my piece in the centre is 4.5 inch square. So I just cut a piece of the DSP 4.5 inch by 4.5 inch, and that's going to cover the back of my box. So I'm going to stick that in, and I brought some different glue in because I'm working with Night of Navy again, and I just didn't want it like yesterday. So I'm just going to stick that in the back of my box now. Okay, Christ, that's on the wonk. Did anyone get a chance to watch Lucifer? I was telling him about you yesterday. I think he's so funny. It's a TV programme. They're on the second series has just finished, so I'm eagerly awaiting now the 3rd series. Right, so what I've done now is I've folded and burnished all my score lines, and I've put tape on. Now you're going to want your tape as close up to that score line as you can get it, and we're just going to do the 2 straight pieces at the minute. So I'm just going to remove the backing off my turning tape, and you can see I've got it folded over like that. Now all I'm going to do is stick myself to it, but fold it over and squash it down. Okay, and that will give you that. Okay, so I'm going to do that again on this side, exactly the same. Remove that, fold that down halfway, yeah, and then fold it over on itself. And that will give you your perfect even sides. Okay, now for these pieces here, what I've done is I've put turning tape across the corners on both sides, and I've also put it up against that score line on there, and we're going to do exactly the same. The only difference is don't remove your corner ones just yet, because otherwise you'll end up stuck to everything. There's one of my fur babies telling his dad he wants to go out. Okay, so again, what we're going to do is you're going to bring that over yeah, to there. And you're just going to fold that in on itself there. Okay, so that it is easy, honest, so that when you bring it up it sort of overlaps the corner bits on there. Now what you're going to do is, if you haven't got a pokey tool, get a needle or something just to whip that backing tape off, that turning tape, because you're going to need them to stick down your corners. Right, and the same, do it on both sides. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to squash that down and squash that one back, and then you're just going to manipulate them before committing till you're right in that corner, and then you can stick them down, and that way you don't have gaping corners. I left that a bit long there. You don't have gaping corners. Okay, so I'll just show you that again. You're going to bring that down to there. You're going to remove your long strip of turning tape. Okay, then you're going to fold it over on itself. Okay, so that's what you've got at the minute. Now I'm just going to prise them two side bits out. I've just squashed it. And now what I need to do is get rid of that backing of that turning tape. And this one is the more fiddly one out of the two. And if the tape falls off inside, don't worry about it, nobody will see. There you go. Come on. Right, there we go. So now, before you commit, just manipulate the corners back in and just give them a little light press. You don't want to squash them like I did with that one. But I'm alright because I'm just showing you what not to do. So there you go. If the clouds were up the right way, we'd be flying. So there's your little box now. Now I've also cut a frame out, and all I used was 4.5 inch by 4.5 inch square, and I just went round it with my blade to give me that little, and it is going to overhang. I did do that on purpose. Okay, so mine is going to overhang, as you can see. So yes, I done that on purpose. And this is using that same DSP. Now with the dies, I also cut out 4 of the hot air balloons, and I put some invisible cord on that out of my own stash. And I've used Pacific Point, I think that's Delightful Dijon, and Cherry Cobbler, and I just sponged them. And I used the same on the stamps, because if you have our Stampin' Right markers, you can colour your stamps in and stamp with them. And that's what I've done, and I've carried the same colourway on my stamped images, and you get the dies to cut these, excuse me, these balloons out as well. So that's all I've done. So what I'm going to do now is, I don't want to squash that down. You can use glue dots or wet glue after you've constructed your box. I think would be better, to be honest. Right, so I've got that now. So what I done with my balloons, just to give them that little bit of life, is, you know the way we do our flowers with our ball tool? I just went on the back of them. With my ball tool and my foam, and I just give them a quick, just like we do with our flower petals, just so they're not flat, you know, they've got a bit of lift to them. So I'm just going to stick these in now, get me clouds up the right way, with dimensionals to give them, as I say, that lift. My youngest daughter, Steph, she moved out on Friday. So my eldest grandson has decided that her old bedroom is now his bedroom. So I've been trying to come up with little interior things for his bedroom. And if you notice at the minute, everywhere you look, there is hot air balloons. So I thought, right, oops. Just stick that up there. Okay, so now I'm going to stick my frame on to hide that frame underneath. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the glue on there. If the glue comes out, that is. Because using wet glue, you'll get some, you know, wiggle room before it grabs. So put my frame on. Make sure you get it all lined up. And as I say, I purposely left that overhang. Okay, so that's what we're looking at now. Just a little shadow box. And I punched out using our double banner punch. Wrecking the Place, which is this one, the double banner punch. And it just says love is in the air. And I'm just going to give that a bit of life with my bone folder. And then, okay, and I'm just going to put that on with a couple of these little cut dimensionals. You know the way you get like the half ones around the sides? Well, I'm just going to use 2 of them. One on either end. Oops. These come in so handy. So don't go wasting them. Use them up. So we've got lovers in the air. Put that on there. So then with this one, the die cut that I cut out, I'm just going to attach that to the back, making sure the flat side is towards the back. And as I say, I just use that. To be honest with you, it's fishing wire. It's the clear fishing tackle. You probably couldn't see it, but that's what it is. I know you can get some that is elasticated, clear. And I'm just putting a bit of masking tape over the back just to hold that in place, because nobody's going to see the back of it, so you know it's not that big of a, well, it is when you can't see it. And that's just going to hold that in place. Yeah, so I've just cut 4 of them out, but I've left the back of it flat so that that can sit against his bedroom wall. So that's what we've got. So I hope you give that a go. As I say, if you look now, balloons, hot air balloons are everywhere. Even in the shops and all, so it's not just Stampin' Up. But I'm going to get some fabric based ink, dye ink for fabric, and I'm going to do his bed covers and his pillowcases and lampshades and all to match, because I'm a bit funny like that. Yeah, so I hope you give that a go. Again, I'll run through it for you. I used an 8x8 piece of cardstock. This is an A4 piece of cardstock. So you're going to score it a 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 1.5 inch, 2 inch, and on the long sides on the A4 a 2.5 inch down to the second score line. If you can see that, yeah. And again, you're going to cut up to the second score line, diagonally across the third score line, and up straight to the 4th score line. And then you're going to come in from the other side and just cut it straight off. Okay, and you're going to do that on your 2 long sides where you put them extra little score lines in. Okay, so I hope that helps. I hope you give it a go. Hope you're tucking into your Sunday dinner. And I'll speak to you all soon. Bye. Bye. Take care. Bye-bye.